Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the CPS Reports, and we are back with another fight preview. This time it is 167 Tawanchai versus Smoking Joe Nattawut 2. And this is the fight preview show. Yes, so we're back. It is the fight preview show. This week we are previewing the 167 Tawanchai versus Nattawut Smoking Joe 2 live on Prime Video and the YouTube page. And I will drop the links in the description where you can find out where you can get tickets and where you can watch this main event. It's a big fight card, as you can see on the screen. The One Championship has brought out the elite fighters, as you can see. There's Tawanchai, there's Smoking Joe, there's Ruotolo, Rodtang, there's Rodtang, there's Mikey Messi, Gabriel Sosa. These guys are all just elite athletes, and also top of the food chain when it comes to the One Championship. So let's just scroll down a little bit here, and we're going to start by breaking down the first fight on the main fight on the fight card, which is the main event, and that is Tawanchai taking on Smoking Joe Nattawut. So these guys fought last year, 2023, and it was a fantastic fight, going back and forth between these two guys. Smoking Joe had the experience on his side, being against the top of the food chain, being against pretty much all the top guys. If I'm going to scroll down here, you can see some of his fight results. Having 6 wins and 5 losses in total, but fighting against the who's who. As you can see there, Shingiz, which is I think flyweight champion, featherweight champion, and we got Tawanchai, we lost to Yamal, we beat Giorgio Petrosian. Like, these guys are all like top names that come out of the One Championship roster. And Smoking Joe has gone up against a lot of these guys. And I think from my perspective, watching Smoking Joe, it's very difficult to beat him. Very difficult. Although I've seen him take losses. When he has taken losses, often the other guy sort of outclasses him, maybe a little bit quicker, maybe has a bit more of a packer punch than he does. But Smoking Joe has got the skill set to beat anybody. Now, taking on Tawanchai, I think Tawanchai at this kind of moment in time, apart from Superlick and Rodtang and Jonathan the General Haggerty, I think Tawanchai is probably the poster boy of One Championship at this point. He is the guy that everyone looks up to. He is the guy that everybody wants to beat. And being only 25 and having a record of only 1 loss in 11 fights, I think Tawanchai is the guy. He's the dog that you want to go up against. And if you look at the list of fights that he fought against, you got Superbon, Smoking Joe, Davat, Yamal. He's semi-picked. He fought Settajai twice. This is like, just massive record to have on his roster, and only being 25. Now, if you haven't watched Tawanchai, I highly recommend that you go on YouTube and type this dude's name. You can have a look at what he does. Freakishly frightening to fight against. Like, he has what a triple F. He's just scary to go up against. The leg kicks are so damaging. And I think one of his best attributes is not even his leg kicks, even though those are usually his finishes. But his best attribute is his ability to utilize the teep kick in a way that is not only backing people up, but he can also destroy you with those teep kicks. He can put people down with those teep kicks. I think I've seen him not finish fights, but utilize the teep kick in such a way that it almost guarantees his path to a victory. And that's how brilliant he uses his deep kicks. It's just scary to go up against. And one of the most amazing things about Tawanchai is that he's so confident. If you watch his fights, he's so confident in what he does, is that it's very difficult to see him lose, or very difficult to see him feel a bit perturbed in one of his fights, where he sort of looks like he's under the caution. He doesn't know how to get himself out of it. You really rarely see him in that kind of situation. Yeah, that's how phenomenal this dude really is. Slick boxing, slick elbows. I think his elbows is one of those things where you don't want to get touched by it, because if you do, you can almost bet yourself that you're going to be going down. So what I'm interested to see in this fight, which I think all of you guys out there that's into One Championship would be interested in the same thing, and that would be, what does Smoking Joe Nattawut do different coming into this fight? What does he do? Because he didn't lose the fight by knockdown. He didn't lose the fight by knockout or see, it was unanimous decision. It wasn't any sort of finish. So what does he do differently in this fight to secure himself the victory? Now, if I look at it, I think what will be very important is if Smoking Joe, it's a 5-round fight. So if Smoking Joe can, I would say, survive round 1 and 2, make it very even. Don't give up a lot of space whereby you have Tawanchai dictating the pace. Because once Tawanchai gets into that motion where he's dictating the pace, excuse me, then it's pretty much a catch-up game from there. You're either trying to catch up to him or it's just a matter of time before he puts you away. So I think Smoking Joe needs to sort of make the first 2 rounds competitive, and then round 3 and 4, just put on the gas. Put on the gas, try and look for the finish, try and bag those 2 rounds in a way that it's there's no doubt in the judge's mind that you've won that round 3 and round 4. And then what you can do is round 5, you can pretty much just like, it's a bit of a cheap shot, but if he kind of just dances around and keep the distance and not take a lot of damage from Tawanchai, it's a lot easier said than done. Because I think if anyone knows Tawanchai, you know that fighting this guy, you can bet from round 1 that Tawanchai is putting his foot to the floor and he's going to step on the gas, and he's going to keep that pace up for the entire 25 minutes. So I think it's very, very important. When I did watch Tawanchai maybe lose a round or 2, it's usually when with the opponent that he fights against makes the first 2 rounds very competitive, especially when he fought Superbond. He made the first 2 rounds so competitive that it got Tawanchai thinking twice about how he needs to push the pace. Round 3, I think I'm not mistaken, round 3, Superbond might have won that round, and then round 4 and 5, you saw Tawanchai starting to gain those rounds back and put on the pace and then got his victory. What does Tawanchai do differently? I don't know. I honestly don't know. He's so flawless. It's like, what does he do differently? Because every fight he fights, he barely puts a foot wrong, barely loses a round. You know, it's like one of those things where, if you can recall back for the UFC context, when John Jones barely lost rounds whenever he was at his peak of his powers, there were fights where he lost rounds, but there was a lot of fights where he was so flawless, you would argue like, how is anyone going to beat this fella? And I think coming into the one championship, I kind of feel the same way about Tawanchai. It's like, how do I see Tawanchai losing? And it's a very difficult thing to see at this point, unless he takes on someone, I don't know, super fight between him and Superlik. And, you know, that would be fantastic to see. I think that Superlik might be the one that could dethrone him. That doesn't mean I'm discrediting Smoking Joe in this fight. I do give Smoking Joe a chance in any fight that he's in. He's one of my favorites in the one championship roster. But if I'm being very realistic, I think he doesn't pull the win out of this one here. So that's my prediction on this fight. I think Smoking Joe goes down again, unanimous decision, and Tawanchai remains the Featherweight Muay Thai World Championship. Anyway, let's keep it moving on, guys. But anyway, before I do that, smash the like button if you haven't done so, and subscribe if you haven't done so, and stay in touch with our latest content. We do keep it pushing as often as possible. Now, we're going to move down the list here. We've got my favorite fighter in the one championship, and that is Rodtang taking on Denis Purik. And this is quite an interesting fight. It's not a title fight, which means Rodtang didn't put his title on the line, obviously, and it's kickboxing, so it's not in the Muay Thai division. It's not where Rodtang is in his domain. However, we have seen him in the kickboxing gloves. We have seen him compete at this form of discipline, and he hasn't been short of successful. I mean, he's beaten the who's who, and that is just one of the things I want to highlight here. Is how Denis Purik has gotten this fight. This is going to be quite interesting here, because Denis. Let's just go to Denis quickly. I think his last fight was what pretty much set him up for this. There we go, Jacob Smith. And Jacob Smith is the guy who also fought Rodtang not too long ago in a very good fight, but a very bloody fight. Look at this one, unanimous decision, right, from Denis Purik. I remember watching this fight. Okay, 5th of April, it was in this year. I remember watching this fight very closely, and I was impressed with Denis's performance. Very impressed with how he was able to sort of nullify Jacob's best tricks. He even got Jacob knocked down twice. He had Jacob all blooded up, and he was able to get out some of Jacob's combinations, which was fantastic. Good boxing. He's okay at kickboxing, but his hands is where he's at. That's like his best attribute. That's where he goes. Now, being 39 years old, right, and going up against someone like Rodtang, being 26, right, Featherweight Muay Thai World Champion. He's been around the block. He's fought the who's who. He's beaten the who's who. He's the dog of dogs. Look there, Smoking Jacob Smith. Fighting Mighty Mouse. Look at these names. These are like big Jonathan Haggerty. Like, this is big names. The list goes on. The list just goes on. So what I'm saying here is I'm a bit concerned for Dennis in this fight. Although he rightfully earned the shot against Rodtang, I don't think that he should have. I'm happy that it's not a title fight. So I don't think that Dennis Pulic is actually going to do something in this fight. If he does, I'll hold my hands up. I really hold my hands up if he does. But I don't think that Dennis is going to get the W in this one. I think Rodtang is far superior. He's got the youth on his side. He's got the endurance. He's got the Iron Man name, which means he's got the durability. And Dennis he's got it within him to take knockdowns, meaning that I've seen him put himself in the line of fire where he's willing to take a shot to give a shot. But sometimes you don't want to do that against someone as an elite of a striker as Rodtang. So how does this fight play out? I think this fight's 3 rounds. I think Rodtang wins by unanimous decision. If not, Rodtang gets knocked out in the second round, probably through an elbow. Rodtang loves to do. He sets up with the deep kick, throw a low kick, and then oftentimes when I don't think he can catch any legs in this one because it is kickboxing. So Rodtang has a habit of waiting for opponent to throw a strike. Most times when an opponent throws a body kick or a deep kick, we'll oftentimes see Rodtang step off to his left, dodging the deep kick, and then instead of countering with the left straight or jab or right straight, you'll see Rodtang coming in left hand up, and he'll come in with an elbow. And he'll usually use that. That's usually what he does as counters for opponents' deep kicks or left body kicks or right body kicks. So keep a lookout for that if you're going to watch this fight. I think Rodtang is going to probably time that quite often because I think Dennis Pulic is probably going to rely on that. I don't think he's going to stand in the pocket and try and box with Rodtang. If he does, I think he loses. Because it's not often that you've ever seen Rodtang really get knocked down or even rocked in any of his fights. I think the one time I've ever seen him rock since watching this guy is when he fought against Super Leg. Super Leg caught an elbow on him and that actually dropped him. For like a brief second, you could see Rodtang was a bit shook, for a brief second. But he came back very quickly and his recovery speed is phenomenal. And I think that's what's going to pay dividends in this fight is that Rodtang has just got the youth on his side. And what makes him most dangerous is that he's got the experience as well. At only being 26 and fighting over 100 fights and fighting fighters at the elite level for so long, it kind of like it marries the experience with the youth, and I think it makes a very deadly combination. And that's what's going to be the thing that's going to get Rodtang over the line in this fight. But let's keep it moving swiftly. Look at this, just massive names on this card. Excuse me, just massive names in this card. Mikey Musi Messi, the Don, the freaking nature, the spider monkey. This guy is just one of the most elite grapplers I've ever seen in my life. Especially in BJJ. Don't get me wrong. The grappling is a very big context. There's wrestlers and Greco-Roman and freestyle. And the list goes on. But I think specifically in no-gi, jiu-jitsu, especially in the cage or in the ring, I think Mikey Musi Messi is probably one of the toughest guys you're going to go up against in your life. Gabriel Souza, also top notch. Very good grappler. Look at me kicking on the wrong thing here. Very good grappler. He's been around the block. Doesn't have any record yet because this looks like it's his debut fight in the One Championship. I worry about having your debut fight against someone at the elite level like Mikey Musi Messi. But as you can see here, Gabriel placing first place 4 times in BJJ World Champions, as well as placing in the top 3 17 times. Fighting against Mikey Musi Messi. Oh, I worry about this one because my biggest concern fighting against Mikey Musi Messi is that if you've watched this guy, it's very difficult to see him lose. 27, very young, fighting out the Evolve MMA, which is is one of the biggest gyms that's in the One Championship organization. Mikey Musi Messi, just look at this. Just look at this. Come on. There we go. Just look at that. Flawless. Absolutely flawless. Just beating everybody. 2 unanimous decisions. Other than that, the dude's finishing rate is fantastic. Look at that, 67%. Which means that if you're going to grapple with Mikey Musi Messi, you can expect that this guy is going to look for the submission almost every minute, every second. And he's setting you up with various things. He's so creative on how he controls bodies, how he controls positioning, and also how he creates leverages to the point where when you think that the lock is not going to be there, he will show you that there is going to be a position where he's going to get you locked up. Now, this fight is not a title fight. I think a few things have to be noticed here is that it's not a title fight, I think, simply because Gabriel Souza, it's his debut. And secondly, Mikey Musumeci is going to be fighting Katie Ruotolo for the bantamweight title, if I'm not mistaken. And that's, I think, the 6th of September this year, and it's 2024. So his title will be on the line. So I think this is why this fight is not a title fight. And also, don't get me wrong, this is not discrediting Gabriel Souza. He is a really good grappler. But I just feel that Mikey Musumeci is going to clean this one up within the 10 minutes. I think he's going to get it done within the 10 minutes. And that's, and also just for you guys out there who don't understand the rules of this one, and I think it's important that I do share this. The grappling rules in the One Championship is just one round, and it's a 10-minute round, and then just keeps going until the round is finished. But the fighter within that 10 minutes, the one who lands the most catches, the one who controls the most top position or the most advanced positions, is the one who can secure the win. And that's how they score the round. So for this fight, I'm probably going to tip it towards Mikey Musumeci. I think he's the more elite grappler. He's got the more championship credentials. As we know, Gabriel Souza is fantastic, but predominantly had his fight in Brazil. Competing on the world stage is very different. Although a lot of the world championships are in Brazil, and it's always international competition, but I think just competing outside of your country changes so much, and that might have something to play a role in this one here. Let's keep it moving. Because the list goes on. I'm not going to do the entire card, just so you know, but I'm going to do the most of it because the card is a banger. Now we've got Liam Harrison taking on Katsuki Kitano, and this is a bantamweight Muay Thai fight. Liam Harrison is probably one of the pioneers for One Championship. If you look at his name right now, the Hitman. Look at that age, 38 years old. But let's scroll down a little bit, and you'll see the names that this dude has fought. Look at Nong Oh, who was a former champion. Rodtang. What's this? I can't pronounce it. Just give me a second. Respect Morakot, who's also elite Muay Thai practitioner. And Liam Harrison has just gone up against all of these guys. And what I like about Liam Harrison's Muay Thai style coming into this fight here, what I like about his style is that because he's not from Thailand or the Philippines or any of the Southeast Asian countries, Liam Harrison is from the UK. And coming into the sport, what makes it really fascinating is that he utilizes boxing styles that is not from the Southeast Asia region, which is fantastic because then he presents a puzzle to the Muay Thai fighters who are from Thailand and so on. Very difficult puzzle for them. They have a hard time trying to figure out taking on westernized or Western boxers. And I think that's what made Liam Harrison be such a successful fighter in the One Championship, is that he's presenting a style that is almost untrained in that parts of the world, being Southeast Asia. And that's why I think he has good success against him. However, he's not a champion there. He did lose against some of the top guys, but fascinating fighter, and just brings the pain, brings the war. And when you watch it, you will notice his leg kicks he utilizes a lot just to set up fighters, not necessarily to finish like the Muay Thai guys do. So you'll look to see Liam Harrison chop away at the calves, so that sort of stops the movement of these Muay Thai fighters who move quite elusively. And then you'll see Harrison get into the pocket and he starts just throwing his hooks. He's just banging, and you'll notice that's where he's the most successful. His opponent, Katsuki. As we can see here, the record is only one successful record. He's on his debut. I don't know much about the guy he's fought against. I haven't seen too much tape of Katsuki, but also very, very quick, very elusive with his handwork, very fast kickboxing style. Utilizes deep kicks quite often, but generally he relies a lot on his boxing paces, and that's where you will see this fight take place. I think there's going to be a finish in this one. I definitely think this fight's not going to go all the way. And if I can pick a round for a finisher, I think Liam Harrison gets the job done. If not in the first round, I think he gets the job done in the second, because he's just a go-getter. He's just a go-getter. If he can stay away from the speed when he's going in the pocket and not necessarily put his face in a position where he can get tagged, Liam Harrison can utilize a lot of head movement and body movement when he closes the distance down, keeps his guard up, and sort of baits Katsuki into a boxing match, I think Leo Madison gets the job done within 2 rounds. So that's what's going to happen there. But let's keep it moving. Smash that like button if you guys haven't done so. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so to stay in touch with our latest content. And also, hit us in the comments when we leave out some pinned comments for you gentlemen and ladies out there that, I will think about what to put out. But I think for this one, we can see who do we think gets the victory done in the title fight that is the main event between Tawanchai and Smoking Joe Nattawut. But let's keep it moving on. Cade Ruotolo taking on Blake Cooper. Now, Cade Ruotolo, like you guys know, whenever I speak about Cade Ruotolo, I gas this dude up. I gas this dude up all the time because I think he's just one of the best, one of the most creative grapplers you will ever see. If you haven't, go watch the tape on this dude. He is just a freak of nature. And what makes him so insane is that I haven't seen anyone as creative as he is in this conference, especially in jiu-jitsu. He's super creative. Again, look at this. Just like Mikey Musi. This dude just smokes everybody. Okay, finishing rate, not the greatest because he got an unanimous decision, but that's because if you go watch the dude's fights, there's a reason why he's undefeated and why he gets unanimous decisions, because his ability to stop the opponent. I mean, look at his name, dude. Tommy Langaka is a world champion. It's a world champion. And Cade Ruotolo, the best attribute of Cade Ruotolo, a lot like Mikey Musi, finding leverage, but I think what he does a little bit better than Mikey Musi is the ability to control and nullify opponents. So if Cade's not getting a catch, if he's not getting a submission catch, then he's definitely not going to let you get one. And his ability at doing that, stifling opponents, is second to none. Absolutely second to none. People are barely putting him in positions where he's at risk. Barely. And I think being at 21, the ceiling for this guy is infinite. It's absolutely infinite. By the time he's going to be 26, I can only imagine what it's going to be like. Maybe having 4 belts, But what's happening in this fight, though, this is not a grappling fight. This is what makes it so interesting. This is not a grappling fight because this is Cade Ruotolo's debut in MMA. The big guy is doing this in MMA. And I think that is just fabulous. Taking on Blake Cooper. Now, Blake Cooper, we don't have any like other than just this one recorded result, and he lost against Maurice Abevi. And Maurice is also a very, very good MMA dude. Utilizes fantastic kickboxing in MMA, big, strong. So it makes sense that he would have lost that fight. I don't want to completely build the fight up in Cade Ruotolo's favor because it is a debut in MMA. He's going to have to use his hands. He's going to have to learn how to kick. He can't completely turn it into a grappling match, which I think he's probably going to end up doing. He might stand up in the first round. Depends on what Blake Cooper comes out with. If Blake Cooper tries to grapple with Cade, probably shouldn't do that. Excuse me. Oh my word. Pardon me. Blake probably shouldn't do that. If I'm Blake in this fight, keep it standing, keep it kickboxing style. Don't give up enough space where Cade's gonna maybe shoot for a single leg, shoot for a double leg, maybe catch your ankle. I think what Blake Cooper should probably do is keep it in the boxing range for as long as he can and look for ways to stop the shot. So when Cade Ruotolo is trying to shoot for the takedown in any way, form it does, Blake should definitely train drills whereby he's working out different scenarios to stop that from happening. If that means you're sprawling, if that means you're throwing flying knees or just an upkick, just a random upkick, or you're throwing uppercuts, or if he moves laterally from left to right, just maintain the fight on the feet. And the longer he can do that, the better chances that he would have to win the fight. But as soon as it goes to the ground, I think Cade Ruotolo finishes the fight right in there. I don't know how it's going to go out because there's this unknown of this is Cade Ruotolo's debut in MMA, so that doesn't make it easy for me to sort of predict how this fight goes. So I think just tune in and see what happens. I'm very interested to see how that fight plays out. Very excited about it as well. Let's keep it moving. Now we've got Tawanchai taking on Masaki Noiri. And now Tawanchai also just a straight up legend of the sport. fighting the who's who. I'm going to pull up his tab here for a quick second. Satyajai, 32 years old, nice and young. Look at his record as well, taking on some fantastic names. Chingiz, Marat Grigorian. Look, these guys are the guys he lost to are currently like, you know, although Marat lost to Superbon for the number one contender spot, but they have tasted gold before. Chingiz is still the champion of this division. I think it's the featherweight division. But Satyajai, if you don't know, you will know him when you go check him out. This guy is also elite. Very difficult to beat. Good checks, but like his best attribute is the ability to set up fast hands like boxing and then just throw speedy left kicks, whether it goes to the leg, to the thigh, to your body, to your head. He doesn't telegraph it. So it comes at such a pace, at such a speed, and such random iterations that it's very difficult to sort of read. You know what I mean? Like, how do you prepare for a fighter that kicks at you more often than he jabs, and he uses the kicks as jabs? Like that's difficult to almost prepare for. He has been on a downward spiral. I mean, as I said, you can see it's back-to-back losses. He's a bit of a downward spiral, but you can never discredit or discount someone like Satyajai, or even Satyajai. You can never discount it, because if you watch him, there's always a chance that he can put you away. There's always a chance that he can put you away. And very elusive kickboxing, very elusive. The only thing that I sort of put sort of asterisks next to his name is his gas tank, because he's throwing so much kicks, and it's because it's one of his main points of his arsenal. It does tire him out. So when you get to the third round, and even 5-round fights, if you get to the third round, you will see Satyajai slow down dramatically. And the kicks, although they still keep coming, the pop isn't there the way they were in the first 10 minutes of the fight, which is your round 1 and round 2. Now, that being said, if we move it on to his opponent, debut fight, as you can see here, very debut fight, 14K1, mainly in Japan. Look there, as you can see, Japan's team K1 promotion, 14-2 divisions. Look there, he's a champion. But again, like I was speaking about Gabriel Sosa, Noiri mainly only competed in Japan. And although you can be top of the food chain in your country, as soon as you start leaving the grounds of your country and you compete on a world stage, you start recognizing the competition is very different. It's at a whole different level. It doesn't mean that the fighters out of Japan are not that great. It just means that you're going to experience a whole new level of fighting. And for his debut fight in the One Championship to be Satyajai, I kind of feel like the One Championship almost did him dirty. Yes, I understand that the Satyajai is on a downward spiral, it's back-to-back losses, but you can't discount what he has done in the past. You know, you can't discount what he has achieved and his skill set. And I think that might just be the thing that's going to get him over the line, is that he's been around the block. He's fought the who's who. He's taken losses, and he's also given out like good victories and dished out a lot of what's the word? A lot of pain. Let's put it that way. So Masaki Noiri, I wonder how it's going to turn out for him in this one. If he's going to be able to withstand the kicking power of Satyajai. Let's see if he's able to do that and get a victory. He's going to need it for his debut, because if he does get it, that sets him up. It's going to put his name, it's going to catapult his name quite high on the roster of the One Championship. Because if anyone's anyone and you beat Satyajai, your name's going to be said quite often, because beating Satyajai is like beating a world champion. It's like he's beating a world champion. So let's see what happens there. Anyway, we're going to move it on swiftly to the next fight. Denise Zamboanga taking on Noel Granjin. And this is a atomweight MMA fight. Also, fantastic names in the One Championship. These ladies have been around the block. They fought against the who's who as well. Keep saying that, but that's what it is. They have fought against fantastic fighters. Let's pull up Denise. Right, 27 years old. You can check here on this list right now. Look at those names. Julie is a fantastic name. Although she hasn't really reached the heights of the sport, right, in One Championship, but you can bet that she's in the top 5 every single time when you look at this women's record. Losing to Ham Sun Hee, like everyone knows, Ham Sun Hee, also top of the food chain in One Championship of the women atomweight division, losing narrowly to certain fighters like Stamp. However, if you fought, look at Denise Zamboanga, she's fought against people at the stage, which means she's competing at like the top 5, top 3 of her division. Same can be said. The same can be said for Noel, although not as decorated in terms of the record. We look at not as decorated in terms of the record in comparison to Denise, but both ladies are fantastic fighters. Their ability to utilize, like MMA, they're well-rounded. They're very well-rounded. They grapple extremely well, and they're also very good strikers. I think the striking advantage, I'll probably give it towards Denise. But I see this fight going to the ground. I don't see it standing for very long because both women are predominantly better at grappling. So it's just a matter of time before the fight goes to the ground. Or I could be completely wrong and the grappling cancels out each other and they end up turning into a boxing match. At which point I think it will go, it will go to a decision. And I think the winner of this fight is probably going to be Denise Zambawanga. I'm going to keep it moving. Adrian Lee, I'm not going to talk about Adrian Lee too much. I'm going to come down to the last two fights because these are the ones that I want to pay attention to. Right, so let's begin with, give me a second here. Let's begin with Itsuki Hirata taking on Victoria Sosa. 118. I'm going to pull up a tab now for you, ladies and gentlemen, so you can kind of see who I'm referring to. Also, being around the block, a lot like Rodtang, very young, got the youth on her side, but also has got a wealth of experience. She's fought very long in the one. Look at that list. She's fought quite a while in the one championship. Taking on names that are quite big. Elise Anderson, Chilean Radzuhan. Look here, Ayaka Miura. Although Hamsuni, she's fought very, very fantastic fighters. Come up short against the ones who are fighting for titles, the ones who are competing for titles. That's where Itsuki sort of falls short. But I always say the youth is on her side. She's going to develop. She's going to get better. She's going to get stronger. I want her to utilize a lot more striking in the game, meaning that I wanted to start developing elite striking status because she's got the grappling on lock. She's got fantastic jiu-jitsu. She's got fantastic judo. She's got it on lock. It's almost second to none. Almost second to none. But I would love to see her utilize the striking because when she has lost to fighters that outstruck her and then had a bit more power and experience and know when to use it. So, for example, when she has lost to Amsuni and Ayaka would maybe strike with her and get her into this false belief that she's going to get into a striking match. And then when she does that, that's when the fighters take her down. And that's very good. What's his name? Kamaru Usman used a very good analogy of what did he say? Staggering fighters, flow change fighters, or something like that, where pace changes, where the pace is always spiking from fast to slow, and that kind of throws the rhythm off your opponent because you're not sticking to something. For example, when you feel that you're winning in the striking department, you stay in the striking department. But the longer you stay there, if you don't put your opponent away, your opponent is going to figure out the timing and then make it a bit more of a competitive fight. And that can be said for the grappling exchanges. But if you altering the pace between the two, faking takedowns, come back to strike for a bit, then go to takedown, stay wrestling, come back to striking. If you alternate between this all the time, your opponents can have a very difficult time reading what your game plan really is. And that's how she lost a lot of the fights that she did lose. Right? Victoria Sosa. Fantastic fighter as well, bring it around the block. Although she lost one in the last three, but she fought, look at these names, Victoria Lee, Angelique's younger sister, RIP, and who I just spoke about previously. Lost against fighters that are just, again, competing at the top of the food chain. How does this fight play out? I think this fight's going to go to decision like the previous one, and it's probably going to end up in a more of a grappling exchanges just because I don't think neither of these fighters have very good striking prowess that will make the fight stay there. Both of them are very comfortable in wrestling. I think that's where they're going to go to. They're gonna stand up for a while. Look, your shooter box. They're going to stand up for a while, for as long as they can before it takes one of them to shoot, and then that's where the fight's probably going to stay. I do think Victoria's got better hands. She's a much better boxer, but I do think that Andrew has the ability. Andrew 18 does have the ability to take her down. Itsuki Andrew 18 does have the ability to take Victoria down, and she probably will. And if she does, she's probably going to try her best to keep it there because that's where she'll be. That's the biggest chances of her winning the fight. But we'll keep it moving. My prediction for that one, I'm going to say, it's tough. I want to go with Itsuki, but I wouldn't be surprised if Victoria pulls out the win here. I really wouldn't, and I think she's going to. Now I'm going to end the preview with the opening fight of this fight card, and that is Johan Estupiñán taking on Zafar Zahik. Now, interesting thing about this fight is that both these fighters haven't really fought long enough. I think Estupiñán, I think Johan, his debut was in the previous, was it May 24th? This was his debut fight. And the fight ended, look there, 27 seconds. So there wasn't enough to see what this dude can do. However, he came into the one championship with a ton of hype. And yeah, you can see by the panda kick. What that simply means is that this guy is just elusive and super creative with his stand-up. Bantamweight Muay Thai. He's just one of those video game characters, just throwing all sorts of techniques at his opponents. It's just very creative. But that's always risky, those kind of things. It just takes one shot from a traditional fighter that will land on him, and it could put him out. And he needs to take his first loss. He hasn't lost yet, so he needs to take his first loss. Zafar, I don't know if Zafar is going to be the guy to do it. He lost against Vladimir Kuzmin. Vladimir is also top of the food chain, lead striker in one championship in the Muay Thai division, especially in bantamweight. So I don't know if Zafar is going to be the guy to do it. I just hope it's not one of those fights where Jonathan just comes in and ends the fight early again because he's so what's the word I'm looking for? He's like this reckless abandonment when he fights one. He's just so crazy and so wild in what he does, and that can easily overwhelm anybody. But it just takes a very good, experienced and traditional fighter to weather that storm. It just takes time before Jonathan's going to get tired, and then he can't throw those things anymore. And that's when you can sort of land your boxing combinations and put him to work and eventually just see out the victory. And I think that's what Zafar might come into this game with the game plan, because if anyone does tape on Jonathan, you know that this guy is just doing monkey things, just going all over the place. And I think that that's going to take a lot of energy out of someone. You can't do that for 15 minutes. So it's just a matter of if Zafar can survive the first 5 minutes, and in that first 5 minutes land a couple of stuff on John, I think the fight might be long for Estupiñán. I think it might be very long for him. So let's see how it goes. However, it's going to be fireworks nonetheless. I think the fight's going to be massive fireworks. Massive. So keep a look out for that. It's a good fight to put on the card as an opener. Very good fight to put on as an opener. But that's all my time, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch this event, amazing event, this Saturday, 8th of June, at 2 a.m. South African time. That is 167 Tawanchai taking on Smoking Joe Nattawut for the second time on Prime Video and on YouTube. And remember, I will put the links to that in the description to those platforms where you can go and simply click a few buttons and you can get yourself a ticket. But that's all my time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. I'm just trying to get this thing. There we go. Thank you for watching. And like and subscribe, and leave us in the comments if you like content like this. And we'd love to hear your thoughts about what you think about these fights. If you are tuning in, give us your perspective on what you think about these champions. And then also, like I say, I'm gonna put a pinned comment and ask you all, who do you think wins between Tawanchai and Smoking Joe in the second and most anticipated fight between the two gentlemen. On that note, stay safe, stay humble, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers.